Pritchard holding his ground. And Porzingis takes a shot from Batase. Oh!
Batase elbows Porzingis in the face.
I like watching him bleed on the court. I think it's important.
Yeah, he's bleeding. He is gushing blood.
I love my WWE moments for sure.
He comes back in and does his job.
How can I not come out like, oh, I have 5 stitches, I can't play anymore? Like, well, no, like my legs work, everything works. You know me, I like these moments, you know. I come back out again and, you know, get a little love from the crowd, you know.
All right, we're all pumped for the draft, but we can't forget about the NBA playoffs. What a scene last night at TD Garden. The Celtics would go on to hold on and take a 2-0 series lead without Jayson Tatum in the lineup. Stephen A., how far can Boston go without having him on the floor?
I still think they would need him to beat the Cleveland Cavaliers, but I think they go to the conference finals without him. He won't take that long. I think he'd be back before then. But Jaylen Brown steps up last night, drops 36. So let's not forget who that $300 million man is. There's a reason.
Finals MVP.
Finals MVP. The brother could play Peyton Pritchard. My vote for Sixth Man of the Year, by the way. He comes off the bench. He gives you 14 points. And obviously, you look at Orlando. They're a good team. I'm a really, really big Banchero fan, but at the end of the day, they need additional help. There's no doubt about that. But Boston could go to the conference finals, but I don't think they beat the Cleveland Cavaliers without Jayson Tatum.
Can we leave that there? Because I need to get into your New York Knicks. Huge Game 3 tonight between the Pistons and the Knicks in Detroit. Now, winner of Game 3 in a best-of-7 tied 1-1 will win the series 74% of the time. What I'm telling you, Stephen A., is tonight's critical. How important is Game 3 for your Knicks?
It's pivotal, no doubt about that. They could lose this series. I picked them to win, but even when I picked them to win this series, I picked them to win this series in 7 because I don't like the way the New York Knicks have looked this year. I know they're more potent offensively. Karl Anthony Towns has been an all-star. How the hell are you going the entire second half going scoreless? You're the self-proclaimed best shooting big man in the game of basketball, and by the way, he ain't lying about that, okay? You averaged 24 and 12 during the season as an all-star, but the New York Knicks, clearly a team more talented offensively with him, Mikal Bridges, along with Jalen Brunson and OG Anunoby playing the way that he's been playing, etc., are better offensively. But that grit and that grind that they had last year with Hartenstein, and of course, a guy like Dante DiVincenzo, even though Julius Randle was injured, you expected more from the New York Knicks, and you haven't gotten that this year. They're devoid of that. They got to win a game like tonight, because I don't know if they're tough enough if they lose in Detroit to come back and win this series.
Because you know who does have grit? Cade Cunningham. That was Houston last night, getting into the NBA playoffs here. The Warriors lost Game 2 to the Rockets 109-94. Perhaps the biggest headline is their star guard Jimmy Butler exiting the game late in the first quarter after a hard fall. Jimmy reportedly suffering a pelvis contusion. He's scheduled to undergo an MRI in San Francisco on Thursday. Our girl, Monica McNutt, joining us now. Monica, top of the morning to you, lady. We'll get you in just a second.
What the hell is in that background? What kind of ceiling you? I mean,
She's in a hotel.
It's art.
I was like, Lord, that okay.
Beautiful photograph that I have only enhanced with my presence in the center.
All right, I understand. I was just wondering. I just saw the background. What the hell's going on?
Absolutely.
Where's she at?
I feel inspired by that art, Monica. So they tell me this. Are the Warriors done without Butler at 100%?
Well, I think that it's going to be very, very tough for them to beat Houston. I wouldn't say definitively that they're done because Houston can be very sporadic offensively. Defensively, they'll bring it. But offensively, it's problematic for them to score at times. And anytime that's an issue for you, you can get beat. So I wouldn't say it's a foregone conclusion without Butler that they would win this series. But I would elevate them to being the favorites to win the series if Butler can't go, which I believe ultimately he will be able to go. Here's what I would tell you if Butler was going. Even if Golden State did get past the first round, you going home next round. I mean, you ain't winning. You ain't beating the Lakers or Minnesota without Jimmy Butler if you're the Golden State Warriors. That I would tell you, with Jimmy Butler, you could be going to the conference finals. Without him, you could go home in the first round, but you definitely be going home in the semifinals. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, I'm with you, S.A. This is a big deal. I mean, there's 2 reasons that you think, oh, goodness, this is bad. One, if Jimmy Butler is out, they have traded away anybody that would have been able to potentially step in, right? And so you're literally looking at a depleted roster. Second, and we saw this last night, and our terrific sports and information group put out great numbers about this, but without Jimmy Butler on the floor, Stephen Curry was was defended by 1.6 players per shot, right? So basically, the Rockets were able to send nearly the double team. But that is important to note because it's the most that he's seen that sort of volume in a playoff game under Steve Kerr. And so the Rockets defense has the type of athletes, has the scheme that they can really make life difficult on Stephen Curry. And without a true creator in Jimmy Butler, like, that load is just going to be so persistent and consistent. Now, as you have pointed out, Stephen A., Stephen Curry is the best shooter that God has ever created.
There we go.
So I am not going to rule out something unfathomable happening, but I'm looking at the degree of difficulty if Stephen Curry has to carry this, not only the nature of game to game, but also the nature of the series, as he has had to navigate some aches and pains and bumps and bruises down the stretch of his career. You look at that Rockets group, they are largely young, healthy, and they play with a tremendous amount of energy on the other side. So this could be big-time problematic.
It could be a big-time problem, but I just don't see Jimmy Butler being able to walk off the basketball court. He's just a guy. I mean, the worst-case scenario is that I see him missing Game 3. That's the worst-case scenario. Well, I can't see him being out longer than that. Not Jimmy Butler. He's just too rough. He's just too tough.
Monica?
I just don't see it.
Yeah, I agree. If he can go, he's going to go. But then I guess the next level of this question is, like, what percentage of Jimmy Butler do you need? And even last night, to be fair, I think it was a dozen at one point in the fourth quarter. The Warriors were in striking distance, even though all the numbers bear out that they barely survived the time that Steph Curry wasn't on the floor last night. I just think it's fragile. I mean, we keep saying, and it's true, there's two sides of the coin, though. We keep pointing out the inexperience of some of these young teams that were able to clinch these high seeds, Houston being one of those that is a centerpiece. But on the flip side, while experience does give you a ton of confidence, it also translates to lots of mileage, and you just wonder about the nature of a series in terms of those quick turnarounds. Now, the good news is this next game is not until Saturday.
Yeah, but of course, much of their success will be dependent on Jimmy Butler and his health. Again, he'll be getting that MRI today on his pelvis. We'll keep you up to speed as soon as we have those results. Monica, thank you kindly. It's also NFL Draft Day. Shedeur Sanders is falling fast in the latest mock drafts. Would it be a mistake for the Steelers to pass on him? We'll bring in our former Steeler, Ryan Clark, and Mina Kimes to join in on this debate. And the Celtics took a commanding lead in the series versus the Magic, but while Jayson Tatum is still out and injured, can Boston make an Eastern Conference run without him? Shocking.